So one of the most important devices to create interesting phrases is using motifs, so kind of repeated either harmonic or rhythmic motifs. So a rhythmic motif would be a similar rhythmic pattern that you carry through to the next chord. So maybe I'll do a couple of rhythmic motifs over a song like Coquette. So maybe usually when I do a motif, I'll come up with something and I'll say, oh, I like that in my head in the moment, and then I'll try to carry it through. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that case, so that was both harmonic and melodic, melodic and rhythmic motif. So in general, if it's it can be both, but if it's just rhythmic motif, then it wouldn't have a similar harmonic contour. But if it's melodic, it could be different rhythms. So there's different ways of doing it, but it's some sort of continuation. Some people call it like a call and response. It's just a good way to not always just play something, forget it, play something, forget it, having a continuation. Because ultimately, what are we doing when we're improvising, when we have a solo? We're trying to make statements, we're trying to say something meaningful. And so having continuity, having motifs, that's going to create a more meaningful statement. So let me do some more motifs. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was one that was interesting, where I didn't just go the same exact thing, but this is something I do a lot, where I'll do a motif, I'll take a line like that, which also happens to be a part of the melody, always good. And then when I went to the next chord, I didn't just do the same exact thing, but I started there and then went somewhere else. So that's kind of like the call and response or a statement and answer. Let's do another one. Let's do something a little more rhythmic. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you start to get the idea, and I think it's really important to start to do it. So one thing that you could do to get motifs more into your playing is to practice taking ideas, short ideas like that, and try to carry it through the whole song. Obviously, that would be boring in a real context, but it's just to trigger and keep reminding yourself the importance of motifs. So let's take a look at minor swing and do some motifs over that as well. And you can do some interesting stuff that almost sounds like a classical piece. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. How about 1, 2, 3, 4? So that one's interesting because I took the same idea, but I modified it to then match the harmony of the next chord. So that's a little more complicated and something to practice, where you take a harmonic motif and match it to the harmony of the chord. I mean, it's also a good way of learning scales and arpeggios in a more contextual way. So maybe I'll do one more solo on minor swing and just a couple more motif ideas that you can work on. 1, 2, 3, 4.